Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of On Tap Bets. I am your host, Joey Ricotta, joined as always. It's also On Tap Golf, by the way. It's On Tap Bets. It's On Tap Golf. Joined as always by the man himself, Jack Bushman. We are going to be talking about another PGA Tour event and breaking down, or kind of recapping last week's. But before we do that, Jack, how's it going?
It's going good, Joey. We got some fall weather coming up in the next week. Fall golf is really in full swing, back into the grind of things. We were close last week. It came down to the wire, unfortunately, as we'll talk about a little bit more here in a minute. Our boy Griot had a blow up on the 15th hole, and that was kind of the end of my chances, at least. You had the Mista guy who gave you a good run down the stretch, but would have been nice to cash the first week. But I think we were still, in the right frame of mind. Basically, everyone we were on, for the most part, had a really good week down in Jackson, Mississippi for the Sanderson Farms Championship. So I think we're on the right track, even though we didn't cash an outright last week. And hopefully we can get one with the PGA Tour in Vegas for this week's Shriners Children's Open. How about that?
Sounds good to me. I mean, we were so damn close last week. It's just, man, we were on the right path. Like, I truly believe that. A lot of guys that we talked about on this show had good weeks. I mean, whether it was a top 40, whether it was a top 10, a top 25, we pretty much nailed just about every single thing other than Sahith Theegala. The Trey Mullinax. I mean, he was okay. Wasn't terrible. I Joseph Bramlett, I didn't get him right. And then Harris English is just broken.
Thank God I didn't bet on Harris, because it was apparent that he was still not back in form after he had a pretty good week to open up the year at the Fortinet.
Yeah, that's what was kind of like, whoa, maybe he is back at the Fortinet, but no, not quite. Jack, I want to get your thoughts a little bit more on the tournament and how everything shook out. But first, talk about how the week went down on paper. The Mac Daddy, Mackenzie Hughes, walked away victorious, his first PGA Tour victory since 2016-17 when he won the RSM Classic. He went to a playoff with Sepp Straka and knocked him off. Straka, man, these playoffs, it's just, he just can't get over the hump with these playoffs like the one with Will Zalatoris, which we're thankful for. But, something we might have missed with the Mac Daddy here. Was a contender to be on the international team for the President's Cup. He lives in Charlotte, the city it was hosted in. He was top 10 in points for a lot of the qualifying period. A little chip on his shoulder, coming into this. I don't know, maybe a missed angle or potential driving force when looking at this tournament, at least for the Mac. Here's a quote from Mackenzie Hughes, too. I guess you could say it was fuel, because I definitely worked a little harder after and felt like that was a team I really, really badly wanted to be on. He's talking about the international team. Also, the Mac Daddy was born 10 days after I was, to the exact year. So Mr. Hughes might be someone I need to look at as a potential button click moving forward, but that's definitely something I missed. I didn't realize that he was going to have that kind of fuel or chip on his shoulder going into that tournament. What do you think about the Mac Daddy's performance?
Yeah, that is one we kind of missed a little bit. And even when I was looking through the odds for everybody when the week first opened, seeing Mackenzie Hughes at 100-1, well, it had been a pretty tough summer for him. And as you mentioned, it kind of bumped him out of the President's Cup standings, and he ended up not making the international team. I did feel like that was a little too big of odds for him, but the form wasn't all that good. So, yeah, I mean, it does suck hearing that now and being like, oh, we should definitely been on that. But there were a couple, Ryder or President's Cup angles that we could have taken last week. And I feel the same this week, honestly. I feel like there's a narrative that can be said with guys who played well for the international team, even though they still lost the United States. I think the showing that they had was still very respectable and tells the world of golf that, these young guys are heading in the right direction. And there are a lot of stars budding from those countries, especially Korea, man. Tom Kim, someone who's catching my eye this week. We'll get into him later. But yeah, it does stink that we missed out on a Mackenzie Hughes kind of revenge week like that per se. But it happens, man. I wasn't even thinking about betting Mackenzie Hughes, so that one doesn't hurt too bad. But good for Mackenzie. It's good to see him get that win. Hadn't won in a long time since you mentioned the 2016 RSM Classic, which he also got the job done in a playoff. So he's someone who feel like over the last couple of years, people feel like he has the potential. It just kind of hasn't all came together yet. And, that's just kind of the game of golf sometimes. So good to see Mackenzie Hughes back in the winner's circle. Unfortunately for poor Sepp Straka, it's another playoff loss, but if anything, Joey, I really do feel like a win's coming for Sepp Straka soon. I mean, he already got his first win last year at the Honda Classic with a great finish. And, these moments under a lot of pressure, I feel like while he hasn't come out on the right side of it, it's going to better him probably for the long run. So I feel like Sepp Straka, he's going to get over that hump here sometime soon. Hopefully we'll be on him that week. But, yeah, good stuff from the Sanderson Farms Championship. Not a great field, but it was certainly an enticing Sunday. So it was a fun event down in Jackson, Mississippi, and I'm hoping we'll get a better one this week here with the field kind of seeing an uptick with the event coming in Vegas. That always helps.
Yeah, I thought I was, I remember asking you last week, like, what's Sepp Straka's mentality like after losing in the playoff to Wells Outdoors, and like, what's he thinking? Like, how's he feeling after all that? And apparently, pretty damn good. Went out there and really golfed pretty well. Just fell a little bit short. I wonder what he's still feeling like now after this. It's got to be a letdown again, but not the biggest of tournaments. I feel like another win is coming here for Sepp Straka soon. And I'm excited about this field here. I think it was cool. Our one and dones. You kind of mentioned Emiliano Grillo's, the Grill Masters meltdown there. I think it was on 15, right?
Yeah.
And then the Mista guy finished fourth, really thanks to the meltdown by Grillo. But we were on both of those guys, and that it was cool. The one and done, just to rub it in your face a little bit. I got that got that first one and done win over you, but racking up the points, right? Like, you still racked up a lot of points from that first week with a T5 finish. That's a very good finish. Unreal how they actually like paired up against each other on the final round. I thought that was just awesome. I saw that and I'm like, Jack had to screenshot it and send it to you. So yeah, I mean, a lot of good things from this tournament, right? I don't want to spend too much more time on it, but there was a lot to like and a lot to appreciate. And I found myself a lot more interested in it than I normally would, looking at the Sanderson Farms, as you called it last week, the Cock Trophy tournament.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was, didn't cash any outrights, but I know you had a pretty good week with your top 40s and that stuff. Even though Grillo had the meltdown, for those of you listening or watching this who may not be aware, Emiliano Grillo was one shot off the lead heading to the par 5 15th. He was a little bit ahead of the other guys who were at the top of the leaderboard. They were a few holes back of him, so he really had to take advantage of that par 5, get a birdie there, tie himself for the lead, and finish strong to have a chance. He's 60 yards away for his third shot, needs to get up and down for a birdie. I've heard rumors that someone may or may not have stepped on his ball, possibly. I looked around on the internet to see if that was official. I couldn't find anything, unfortunately, but he ends up duffing his chip shot into the sand. It gets plugged. It's a whole nightmare from there. He ends up sculling the ball across the green, leaving his next one short, ends up making an 8 on the par 5 15th, and that's all she wrote for Emiliano Grillo's outright chances at the Sanderson Farms, but he did still cash that top South American for me, so that was my lone tally of the week. Hopefully I'll have some more money in my account after this one, but at least it wasn't a clean sweep for the books. I know you had a better week than I did, though.
I think I just took a lot more props and that, I started firing them off and luckily they hit. But, you were so close there with the outrights too. We would have both been celebrating and jumping up and down if Grillo would have taken that down. He was damn close.
Also, Henrik Norlander, he's on my shit list, dude. Top 20, finishes 24th. Dude's a bum. He's on my shit list. I'm not betting him again for a while.
I feel so bad, dude. You should have just tailed me on the top 40. I did the top 40.
I got greedy.
And you're like, you know what? I want those plus, what was it, 430 or something like that?
It was great odds. 80 or something. It was crazy odds.
Great odds. But yeah, Jack, let's go ahead. What do you say we look ahead here to the Shriners Children's Open in Vegas? TPC Summerlin is the course, $8 million purse. The defending champ is Sanjay M. The past 5 champs have been M, Martin Laird, Kevin Na, and Bryson DeChambeau. Well, who won't be here, obviously. A couple of those guys will not be here. And Patrick Cantlay, when now won, obviously 2019, 2020, it was a different name back then. It was called the Justin Timberlake Shriners Hospitals for Children Open. What a long damn name. Maybe an acronym would have worked a little bit better, but as far as last year goes, Sanjay M, 24 under, 4-stroke victory, tied a 72-hole course record. So impressive stuff, and he's in the field obviously here as well as Cantlay. Jack, before I even looked at the Vegas odds for this tournament, I looked at past results, obviously, and I saw the names of the guys who've done well here. Cantlay's name immediately stuck out to me and sure enough, the odds-on favorite at 6-1. Give me your thoughts here about these top 5 guys. Well, actually, before we do that, little course breakdown and just some things you're looking for, key statistics, all that sort of thing for the Shriners Children's Open.
Yeah, as you already mentioned, TP Summerlin is the host of this event. It's been strictly here at TPC Summerlin since 2008. Course was designed in 1991 by Bobby Weed. It is a par 71. There are 3 par 5s here. It ranges just over 7,200 yards, but it actually plays really short, Joey, because it's so dry in Vegas. The ball really sails. I mean, the par 5 should be gettable. There's a lot of par 4s that come between that 400 to 450 yard mark like we had last week. So I'll probably have that as a key statistic once again, along with approach from 125 to 150, the wedges and the short irons. That's really the name of the game of this course. You got to be good off the tee. You got to put yourself in a good spot off the tee box and with your driver. And the greens are really easy to hit here, like 75% green and regulation rate. So a lot of guys are going to be hitting the greens, which means it kind of turns into a putting event. So putting is something on bent grass greens. We'll see bent grass greens here at TPC Summerlin this week. Someone who puts good on bent grass greens can score in bunches. We normally see the final score end up. It's been above 20 under, below 20 under, I guess I should say, for the past couple of years. So scoring is relatively easy. I'm looking for opportunities gained. I'm really honing in on those kinds of stats. I'd say strokes gained off the tee, strokes gained approach as always. Probably will try to get something in there on par 4s from 400 to 450 yards. And then wedge play, 125, 150 yards. I think that's where a lot of the shots are going to come from this week. And then strokes gained putting on bent grass greens. That's kind of the makeup I'm looking here for the Shriners Children's Open. But it should be a fun event, man. It plays relatively easy, so we'll see good scores. As I already mentioned, the ball absolutely flies out there because it's also 3,000 feet approximately above sea level. So a lot of the guys can mash it out there, and we should see a decent birdie fest on our hands this week. So that's kind of the model and the types of players I'm going after. Guys who can score in bunches, good off the tee box, reliable. We know guys are going to be hitting the greens, but I might try to focus on those yardage areas that I've really honed in as where I believe a lot of the second shots will be coming from this week.
I like that strategy a lot. I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you look at Sanjay M from a year ago, really dominated strokes gained tee to green, first in both greens and regulation and a strokes gained tee to green. So, like you said, it's a little bit easier to hit the green, and it probably will become a birdie fest, but being first in that category will definitely help. It's tough, man. Looking at this, I feel like really opens up the playing field a lot, just like it did last week. Like we're kind of in the same situation here where just about anybody can win. Those are just kind of the things that I was looking at. Same things that you're looking at. Strokes gained tee to green. Course history, I feel like, is more important here than a lot of places. It's very
especially last week. Last week didn't really matter. Here, I think it kind of does.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing it too. Like when you look at the course history, sometimes it fluctuates with a lot of guys. With a lot of guys that have good track records here, their track records kind of stay the same as they've went down throughout their career and played here even more. So, and there's a lot of Vegas boys in this tournament. Just kind of a little storyline there. I'm not sure how much it matters, but it's something to consider. It's something to definitely look at, certain players that maybe have played here quite a bit. But yeah, Jack, I mentioned Cantlay, and he is top of the board, and his name stuck out before I even looked at the odds. But Cantlay, 6-1, Sanjay M 9-1, Max Homa, 14-1, Aaron Wise, 18-1, and then Tom Kim, 22-1. Those are the top 5 on the betting board. Thoughts, and will you take one of these guys this week?
Yeah, I'm really conflicted. And as you mentioned, I feel like this is a tournament that's very up for grabs because of the way it plays. And with the field being stronger this week, and as you mentioned, there's a lot of Vegas guys who are part of the field. Like, there are a lot of names that are gathering or garnering my attention, and I'm still having a hard time kind of cutting down the numbers here because I don't want to have 15, 16 outrights. I won't be making any money at that rate. But looking at the top of the board here, yeah, conflicted to say the least. I feel like I probably should only take one of these guys. I'm gonna bet one of them. Patrick Hanley, I mean, his course history here is undeniable. 8th, 2nd, and a 1st his last 4 times that he's played here. I mean, absolutely dominated TPC Summerlin. He's a really good putter in general and does some of his best work on bent grass greens. So there's a lot of reasons to like Patrick Hanley, except for the fact that he's 6-1. So I just don't see myself getting there. And if Patrick Hanley ends up winning, he's certainly capable of it. I mean, he's the best player in this field. And I just have a tough time getting to that 6-1 number. So I'll probably pass on him. Sung Jae is someone who is getting my attention here. 9-1, I feel like not a great number, but for what he can do, and he's played well recently, had a really good President's Cup, ended the year strong last year, obviously has won at this course. So Sung Jae is someone who's getting my attention. Max Homa, I'm going to kind of act like he's not here. He has a really bad course history. He gets cut every year here, and I know he's a different player now, but I'm just going to kind of ignore Max Homa and act like he's not here. I'm not going to get behind that 14-1 number. If he wins, so be it. The one that's really getting my attention, though, is Tom Kim at 22-1. And, like, this was the President's Cup angles I was talking about. Tom Kim really showed his character and showed how good and fiery he is at the game of golf and with the game of golf at the President's Cup. I mean, he played phenomenally and just kind of showed us how talented he really is. And burst onto the scene last year, of course, had that victory. I really like Tom Kim here at 22-1. All the things that is necessary at this course he can do. So I do like the top of this board. I'm trying not to get too caught up in that because there's a lot of guys as we go down that I like as well. But I feel like I'm going to have to at least bet one of these guys. So I'm leaning Tom Kim right now over Sung Jae, but we'll see how it goes in the next 24 hours. Per usual on Tuesday, I have some critical decisions to make before things get underway on Thursday morning. But what are you feeling about the top of this board?
Yeah, the rough part is, we're not quite sure if we're going to have a show tomorrow or not when you actually have like these bets finalized, but I know you will be putting them out there on social media, on Twitter and all that. So hopefully we will have a show, but we're not quite sure yet. But like you said, man, yeah, it feels like you need one of these guys. I couldn't get there with Cantlay. Like you kind of said with Max Homa, I'm actually fading all these guys. I'm not starting my card with any of these guys. I mean, Cantlay makes the most sense, right? He popped on just about everything I looked at, and I'm like, he's the best golfer in this field. Like, there's a reason why he's favored to win this contest. I don't like the number. That's for him. Sung Jae, I don't like the number either. But to go back to back, I'm just going to go ahead and say that he doesn't do that. I know he can do that very well, very easily. But I'm going to just say he doesn't. I'm fading Max Homa. You said, the President's Cup, he was very impressive there too. Picked up the victory at Fortinet to kickstart the campaign, coming in with good form, but, has played here, like you said, 5 times and missed the cut each of his last 4. So, I mean, how much does it matter given his recent form? I don't know. Aaron Wise, I don't know if the word I'm
not 18-1 Aaron Wise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the word I'm looking for is quietly, but like last season, quietly had a really strong season last year. He didn't win a tournament, but top 40 in 8 of his last 9 events with a lot of top 20s bunched in there. So finished T8 at this tourney last year. Makes sense why it doesn't really make sense though. From like a talent perspective, I wouldn't expect him to be up there. Not taking anything away from his talent, but I just feel like there's a little bit more talent kind of in that mid-range area. And same with Tom Kim. I think he's very talented. I did not watch the President's Cup much, as you know, but the electricity there that he showed and what everybody's ranting and raving about. I feel like he's the hot name right now. And that's kind of the reason. That's like the sole reason I don't want a part of him this week, is because I feel like he's the hot name that everybody's going to gravitate towards. Just a little bit better odds, better number than the top of the board. And I do not want to get my hand caught in the cookie jar. Like, I'm willing to let someone else reach for the sweets for now. And if I get burnt, I get burnt. And that's kind of how I just attack the top 5 here.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And good news for you as someone who likes to fade the top of the board. Mackenzie Hughes won last week at 100-1, ending that ridiculous stretch of guys at the top of the board.
It's turned around.
I think it dated back to KH Lee before the PGA Championship. Like, it was ridiculous how guys only under 40-1 were winning. So could be good news for you that the tides are kind of turning there, and Mackenzie Hughes finally got that streak to come to an end. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like, it's tough to go to these guys with such little numbers, and I don't know. I feel like I want to get part of one of them, but I'm not too enticed by what's being offered up there. So I could definitely understand fading that top part completely. And for the other side of it, I can also see people just betting Cantlay and Sungjae, and that's it. Like, I could also see that angle too. Like,
yeah,
there are a couple different ways you can go about everything, and some guys want to play it differently. I'm personally probably just going to get a little bit of action and move down. And I understand why you're just kind of passing on it in general.
Yeah, for me, it just made the most sense given what I was like, the talent that I feel like have real strong shots given the recent form, and not taking anything away from those other guys, Cantlay and Im, obviously incredible golfers. It's a numbers game for me. It really just comes down to a numbers game, and can't bet everyone. Although I do have a lot of outrights.
You tried this week.
I tried to get all of them this week. I really did. And that's not even including like a $2 bomber that we're probably going to get to at some point. But Jack, moving down here, let's go 35-1. Taylor Montgomery, very good putter. Taylor Montgomery, we got Cam Davis 40-1, Brian Harman 40-1, Alex Noren 50-1, Adam Hadwin 50-1, Taylor Pendrith 50-1, Tom Hoagie 50-1, Emiliano Grillo 50-1, Christian Bezatenhout, I'm going to screw up his name, I'm pretty sure I did, Seabass.
Oh, that was money, well done.
50-1, Keith Mitchell 50-1. Geez, 50-1. We're stopping there because there's too many damn names. What do you think about this mid-range tier?
It's juicy, baby. This is, again, like last week, this is where I'm looking to get most of my action. Taylor Montgomery, I'm back probably on him again this week. I believe in the upside. He's looked really good. He wasn't ever in contention, but he hovered and wound up getting top 10. A really good putter, as you already referenced. Someone I could trust in a birdie fest, I think. Hits a lot of greens as well. So Taylor Montgomery, 35-1. I believe in the talent. I'm sticking there. Cam Davis is also someone who's gotten my attention. Again, kind of a President's Cup angle. I thought he played really well for the international side, and he's becoming a really strong wedge player. So I feel like Cam Davis has a chance to win this. And I actually saw, I think someone who runs models, I forget who it was exactly, but they ran a model, or they simulated the event like 1,000 times or something. And Cam Davis won like 5% of the time, which is pretty massive for someone who's 40-1. So
interesting.
I'm interested in Cam Davis for sure. Brian Harman, I don't ever love putting an outright on Brian Harman because I feel like that's asking him a little much, but he's someone who has some good course history here, plays a clean game, good tee to green game, has one of the weirdest putters I've ever seen, but I'll probably end up fading Harman, but I will admit he is someone who has my interest. I also like Pendrith at 50-1. Again, another President's Cup international guy. I'm definitely going to be back on Grillo this week. He gave me an even bigger number for Grillo, so I'm going to be on him. And then I also, I guess we're stopping at 50-1, so I'll hold my horses right there. But yeah, a lot of guys I'm interested in this range. Grillo, Pendrith, Cam Davis, Taylor Montgomery. I probably can't bet all of them, but this is the range that's really getting my interest. What about you, Joey?
I have 3 of the names that you have. Pendrith, I didn't really think about him too much, but I have been on him recently, but that's somebody I didn't quite get to. And it's just, there's too many damn people that I like this week. So I didn't get to Pendrith, but Taylor Montgomery, I started there. That's where my card really started. 35-1. UNLV alum. One of the many Vegas boys, so to speak, this week. Dynamite putter, man. He could fill it up with a ton of birdies. That's what we're going to need this week. I just feel like, he's got one of the best flat sticks in this field, and he's going to get his. I mean, top 10s and back-to-back tourneys to kick off the year. And get this, he now has a top 10 in 11 of his last 14 events. Most of those on the Korn Ferry Tour, but still 11 of 14, including each of his last 6 and 9 of the last 10. Any way you describe it, it's damn impressive what Taylor Montgomery is doing. So, yeah, I'm with you there. I'm on him. Cam Davis, same thing. I actually grabbed him at 42-1 on another book. Missed the cut at Fortinet, but turned in a really strong finish to the season last year. Long off the tee. Thought he might be worth a little sprinkle here. I mean, not sure yet, given the history here. I don't know, T27, T52, T28 in 3 events. Not like spectacular or anything, but I think he might be worth a sprinkle. I actually have not bet him yet. But the book I'm looking at is 42-1. Emiliano Grillo, yeah, maybe. The grill master boy, man. His ball striking ability, when that putter's cooking, he can be elite. And I'm not even just saying that like in the scrubby events. Like if he actually puts it together, he could be a major guy. He really could with that ball striking and with the putter. If the putter's like this, he gained over 3 strokes putting at the Sandy Farms, over 5 strokes on approach, and he was first in greens and reg. Jack, I mean, I didn't even have to ask you this.
How can we pass that up? I mean, how could you pass that up? I'm going to bet on Emiliano Grillo probably every week until that putter cools, because you don't get runs like this from him often where the putter is this hot for this many consecutive weeks. And again, you've referenced how good he is of a ball striker. I mean, hits a ton of greens in regulation. He gives himself so many opportunities. And when that putter's actually on his side and cooperating, I feel like it's definitely worth the risk. So, yeah, I'm going to be on Grillo until those putting stats flip.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, are we grilling again? We very much are grilling again. It just sucks, man. That, like we talked about, that 15-hole final round meltdown. But hey, it's one hole, right? Like if you're putting that well or playing that well all together to where one hole really affects your game and you still finish top 5, like you're playing some damn good golf, especially how much over he went there. But yeah, as we move down here, Jack, so we stopped at 50-1. Let's go ahead and look at 55 and up here to maybe about 70 range. I don't know.
Yeah.
50-1, or 55-1, excuse me. Siwoo Kim, Thomas Dietry, Seamus Power, Ricky Fowler, Denny McCarthy, Andrew Putnam, the Postman at 65-1, Taylor Moore. You got the Mista guy, Dean Burmester at 65. Maverick McNeely at 65, KH Lee at 65. I'll actually stop there, Jack. Anybody in this range still looking somewhat enticing?
Yeah, I have a problem on my hands because I like too many guys. I like Siwoo at 55. Again, another President's Cup guy. I don't. If they just blow this week, if those President's Cup guys suck, I'm going to be in trouble. But I really believe like their momentum and even the chip and I think also the confidence they got from that event. Again, it still went the way we all thought. The United States won, but the international team gave them a run for their money and held their own. And I think that really gave them a confidence that they can move forward and hang with the best of them. So I like Siwoo Kim again this week. I have some interest in Power, another guy who plays in Vegas a ton. TPC Summerlin is actually a course he's very familiar with and plays all the time. So a little interest in Power. The Postman's number feels a little bit too big. I'm not going to get back on him, but that does feel like a little bit too big of a number for him. And then Mista guy, he's just been absolutely on fire lately. I'm going to go on Burmeister this week for sure. And then it's a TPC course, Joey. This is TPC Summerlin, so that means I should probably bet KH Lee because TPC Lee, he always shows up at TPC courses. I mean, for whatever reason.
Well, what is it with him and the damn TPC courses? I don't understand.
I don't know. He doesn't have a good course history here, but based on what he's done at TPC courses in the past year and a half, I might just have to blindly bet KH Lee. But yeah, again, pretty good interest in this range. What do you got?
I've got a lot here. Uh,
Sounds familiar.
maybe, probably too much. I have 4 guys here. The Mista guy, Dean Burmester. I definitely am on him. Caught him at 66-1 at our sponsor, Bet Rivers. Promo code ONTAP. If you go to betrivers.com, enter the promo code ONTAP for an up to $250 deposit match. That's promo code ONTAP at betrivers.com for an up to $250 deposit match. Seamless transition, seamless plug. That's the only way we know, Jack. Dean Burmester, the Mista guy. He showed me nothing to make me not believe in him last week after being high on him going into that tournament, which I didn't hear like too much buzz about him, but people aren't really as familiar with him yet on the tour, I don't think. And I think there's some real upside here, along with a solid floor baked in with his off the tee game. Finished 4th at Sanderson, mentioned already, 6th in stroke gain off the tee. I like the Mista guy. I'm definitely not on him. Thomas Dietry, the Belgian brute, had a good tourney at Sanderson, but the 3rd round is really what hurt him. He bogeyed the 2nd hole in the 3rd round, but in all of his other rounds, he birdied or eagled that same hole. I mean, he eagled the same hole in the 4th round. He did the same thing with the 16th hole, bogey on day 3, but birdied it every other round. I mean, if he pars either one of those or both, we're talking about a top 5 finish instead of just a top 10 for Thomas Dietry, which, it's not a win, but it just shows you how close to the top he was and dominating those holes and then bogeying the same holes that he was dominating the whole tournament. That kind of shows me, okay, well, like with Griot, right? Bad hole, just a bad day or bad hole that day. So Keith Mitchell, got to Keith Mitchell. Actually, he was 50 in the 51 range for the book that we're looking at, but I grabbed him at another book, 66-1. Course history doesn't exactly fit as a narrative for Mitchell this week, but I mean, he generally starts slow looking at the past history at Sanderson Farms as well. He's 0 for 4 here, missed the cut every time, but he's a good bent grass greens putter, was 4th last year in strokes gain off the tee. It's been a minute since we've seen him win, but it wouldn't surprise me to see him turn in a solid week this week. So I think at 66, I like that number a little bit too much. Seamus Power, I think you said you're in on him too, correct?
I have interest in him. I haven't made a single bet yet because I like too many guys, and I got to figure this whole thing out. That's why I like talking with you on a weekly basis, because it helps cut my list down a little bit.
Yeah, and then you can know who to fade because my reasons are ridiculous. But yeah, Seamus Power, 66-1 on Bet Rivers. Lives in Vegas, probably plays here a ton. T21 last year. T21 last year. T30 last week at the Sanderson Farms. Shot a solid, not terrific for the course. 1 under in 3 of the rounds. Barely made the cut, but took off in the 3rd round, shooting 5 under. So, he flashes the birdie upside. Like, he can definitely do that, and I feel like he steps his game up a little bit more in these types of tournaments for whatever reason. So I like Seamus Power this week. And definitely for something we'll talk about a little bit later as we go on. But yeah, Jack, I don't know. It's after that, we're pretty much like, is anybody catch your eye from the, we'll call it 70-1 to 100-1 range?
Honestly, the rest of the betting board isn't all that enticing to me. I do like Matthew NeSmith. He's been really good here. Top 20 finishes in each of the last 3 years. He's been playing pretty well. Had a great Sunday at the Sanderson Farms as well. So 80-1, I like Matthew NeSmith. Mark Hubbard, another Vegas guy who was right there till the end last week. So 80-1, I could be interested in Mark Hubbard. But
he was paired up with Mac Daddy, I think, to start the day, right?
He was in the lead heading into Sunday. So he was right there. I feel like 80-1 is a pretty fair number for him, considering he is a Vegas guy and had a good week last week. So he was someone that caught my eye. But no, that's the only guys from that range. And even above 100-1, there's only one guy who's got my attention right now. What do you got from 70-1? And then also is some of the bombs.
Oh, man, NeSmith, you said his name. I normally never bet him, to be honest.
I don't either. I've actually never placed a wager on Matthew NeSmith.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. I don't remember a time where I have. So, the good track history here. Played each of the last 3 years here, T14, T8, T18. Pretty good approach game, 30th last year and 31st in greens and reg last year, which, it's probably easier to on this course, but I think it still matters if you're one of the higher guys in that area. Yet to win on tour, but we've seen him pop a few weeks, Valspar last year, and then the Zurich Classic. So, yeah, I like taking a shot there at 80-1 is where, I grabbed him. So I don't mind that at all. And then you're going to hate me for this. Or maybe you not even hate me, but you're just probably wishing me luck because I guarantee you're not going to bet this week. Jason Day.
No.
I know. 100-1.
No.
Got him at MGM. Numbers from the Fortinet.
I don't care.
First, you don't even care. You don't even want to hear it.
Tell right. The people, but I don't care.
No, listen, it's not even that impressive, but I feel like it's something I'm looking at. I like to look at this stuff. So, first in approach, you got Fortinet. Third in greens and reg. Where he sucked was the driving accuracy and putting. Both disgustingly bad. But if he can somehow turn that around, I mean, he was decent around the greens. It wasn't horrible with the putter last year. So the strokes gain approach and the greens and reg numbers from the Fortinet really kind of stood out to me because they weren't that great last year. So if that part of his game has improved, hey, you never know. Finished fourth here in 2012, 24th in 2008. We're going way back. Yeah, I believe there's Vincent redesign.
It was 2012. That was the last time he was any good.
It's true. It's probably true. I don't know, man. 100-1 on MGM. I figured, why not? I'm throwing a dart at that point. Very small chunk of change at Jason Day. Do not go and blow your whole bankroll on him. But yeah, man. What do you say? Some bombers. Who do you like past the 100-1 range? Anybody, if anybody?
Not much here. One that did catch my eye was Bo Hosler. Someone who came really well. I'm concerned about the driver as always. Bo Hosler is a terrible driver of the golf ball, but if he can
He's wayward. He's very wayward, I feel like.
Yes, very wayward, and that definitely scares me on Sunday because every time he's in contention on Sunday, the driver really goes bad. But 130-1, he has good results here in the past couple of years. He's got the T7 in 2018, T23 in 2019, T29 in 2020, 34th last year. For 130-1, I know he can putt, and I feel like that's a strength this week for him. This type of event is an event where he actually has a chance. So that was a number that just kind of caught my eye, 130-1. I maybe could go back on Hayden Buckley at 150-1.
Still playing well.
Yeah, he's still playing well. Had a decent week last week. Wasn't ever in contention, but was up near the top. But other than that, man, maybe I'm foolish for not looking too hard down here. Or I mean, I've looked, but nothing's really getting my eye. But yeah, that's really all I got from plus 100-1. What do you got?
I like that you mentioned Hosler. We'll get to him later. Didn't place an outright on him. I definitely like him for this course, though. Good form here. I'll talk about a little bit more about him in depth in a second. But Adam Schenk kind of intrigued me a little bit. I'm not sure what his odds are at, though.
Isn't that just the worst last name to be a golfer ever? I just think about
Shank it off the tee.
Think about how brutal. Like, how many jokes you think Adam Shank's gotten? Like, his last name.
He's probably heard every single one of them. I don't even think he actually wins this tournament. But what did he finish last year? He was up near the top. He's 190-1. I'm seeing. Is that right?
Massive.
190-1 for Adam Schenk, who, and according to datagolf.com, he's the number one golfer in this field at performing above expectation on this course. And his finishes on this course kind of tell the same story. Third place last year and 4 top 30s out of 5 events at the Shriners. Also, he's kind of following the same trend as last season. Last year, T51 at Fortinet, cut at Sanderson. This year, T55 at Fortinet, cut at Sanderson. It's possible Adam Schenk had a little look-ahead spot towards this tournament. Like, maybe he just likes playing this tournament and likes playing here. So I think I'm buying into Adam Schenk as an outright, even though it's like crazy long odds and you just never know.
No, I think I like your logic behind that for sure. And I like the number too. You might have talked me into it.
Yeah, even though he shanks everything. We'll see. Hopefully he doesn't do that. Who was the 200-1? I feel like there was a 200-1 that I was like, yeah, that's kind of interesting. Oh, Jesus. No, we're not going 250-1. Henrik Norlander. He treated me well. He's on your banned list, I feel like.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, can't do that. Do we go with, oh, boy, the Englishman? Harry Hall? The UNLV grad? Las Vegas resident?
Yeah, apparently he likes playing here. I have read a couple things on Harry Hall this week.
I was thinking maybe. I mean, last year he was T8 here at Shriners. Knows the course.
I think he got engaged after the tournament last year too, or something like that. So this could be a special spot for him.
Yeah, maybe a little fine wine and dine after the tournament too.
Go hit the tables,
Beyonce,
blow all that engagement money.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe that's what he's. I don't know. I wanted to find a way to get a piece of him. I'm not sure if it's an outright, but like. Look, he hasn't been golfing all that well to start the season all around, but he's been cleaning up with the putter. Back-to-back missed cuts at the Fortinet and Sanderson, but first in strokes gained putting through 2 events. So
the rest of the game sucks.
The game sucks, but hey, it could be a birdie fest, right? Maybe that's why he likes this course so much. I don't know. I have no idea. I probably won't get there, but you never know. Are we missing any guys, Jack? Was there anybody else that you're in on?
No, that's everybody that's getting my attention up to this point.
All right, sounds good. I think we should move on then to top 5s, 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever placement that fits what you want to do this week. Whatever, Jack. What do you have?
Top 20, the first one that stood out to me was Matthew Neesmith, plus 300. As I mentioned, he's done that each of the last 3 years here. I think 3-1 odds is pretty fair number that he'll do it again. That was the one that stood out to me. And then another one was, maybe this is the way I'll go and get some money on Bo Hosler, but plus 350 for a top 20 here as well. As I mentioned, he's always hovered right around that spot, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him do it again on a course where I think he can get around a little bit better and hang around a little bit more. So 350-1 at a top 20, that caught my eye. And then the one top 40 that I have so far was the Mista guy at minus 110. And honestly, that might be one of my favorite bets this week. Like minus 110 for Mista to finish top 40. He's been on a roll lately.
I can give you a better number than that too. I can give you plus 130.
Oh, I love hearing that.
Yeah, talk to me after this. We'll set you on the right path. Sorry, Bet Rivers. We got a number somewhere.
We got money to make here.
But
those are the only 3 props that I have as of right now. What do you got?
I like it. Mista guy for me as well. Top 40. Did it last week. Doing it again. Reasons mentioned previously. I actually saw him at minus 145 for a top 40 on another book. So if someone's going to give me plus 130, even minus 110, like absolutely. Let's go ahead and do it again. Mista guy. Emiliano Grillo, the grill master. We're grilling this week. Minus 110 on Bet Rivers for a top 40. Our sponsor. Let's get it all aboard and back on the grilling machine. I like that. I think minus 110 is a bargain, just like the Mista guy. Minus 145 on some books. So if you're going to give me minus 110, I like that as well. Seamus Power plus 120. Grabbed him at that. We talked about him already. We talked about Thomas Dietry as well. I like him as a top 40, finished top 35 or better in each of his 5 PGA Tour events last year, with a T34 at the Open, T12 at Fortinet, T9 last week at Sanderson. So as we talked about, just makes a lot of sense, I think, given his floor right now and around the green game. Bo Hosler, he said top 20. I am taking a little bit of a safer approach with him. I'm going to go top 40 plus 210. Gets pretty good distance, even though he can be very wayward. That accuracy can be a little yeesh. But one of the better putters on tour. Finished 5th in strokes gained putting last year. If it's a birdie fest that we expect, why not Bo? Good track history here, 4 events, all 4 top 40s. Again, why not Bo? Why not another top 40? I like that. And then Adam Schenk. I kind of mentioned the reasons why. The datagolf.com making him the number one in this field for expectation, playing above expectation on this course. So, and with the top 30s, the third place last year, 4 top 30s in 5 events. I like that trend. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Adam Schenk for a top 40 as well. It's a lot baked in there. We did really good with these last week, so I'm trying to keep the momentum going. And hopefully I'm not getting ahead of myself with going too heavy on these. But I think they're just a little bit safer than outright. So maybe that's why I'm getting to so many of them.
I mean, they definitely are. There's no doubt about it. And when we're getting good numbers like that, especially compared to what some other books are offering, yeah, you feel a little bit more incentive to hop on those. So I completely understand why. Before we wrap things up, you got any international props at all? Because I didn't really find anything too enticing. What do you got?
Man, there's a couple that piqued my interest, but I haven't gotten there. The one that I will bet for sure is the top South American plus 105 for the Grill Master, Emiliano Grillo, going up against Mito Pereira and Augusto Nunez in this field. Really just those 3 guys. You're going to give me plus money again. Grill Master might not be the worst play. So I just don't trust, Mr. Mito and Augusto Nunez. Look, I don't really know. I don't know what to say about him. So that's why I'm going with somebody I do know much about this week in Grillo.
Yeah, that's definitely the one international prop that stood out to me the most. The other one, I guess, maybe you can get some Mista guy at top South African at plus 265. I thought that was a little interesting. And then the other one was Thomas Dietry, top continental European, plus 225. I don't know if I want to get on board with Dietry to win a tournament because kind of funny, Joey. One of my main guys I listen to every week, Pat Mayo, someone who follows a lot of European golf in the Euro Tour and has followed Dietry and kind of compared him to the European Tony Finau, someone who's been really close, but it seems like every time he gets in those pressure situations, they just don't seem to go his way. But he could definitely score in bunches. So this is probably the way that I'd get some money on Thomas Dietry if I'm going to.
That's a good angle. That's a very good angle. Good strategy. You might talk me into that. I don't know. I definitely was something I looked at there and I wasn't quite sure about, but I'm happy to hear that. I'm not happy to hear that he's being compared to Tony Finau by any means. Maybe, hopefully, he starts getting compared to last year's Tony Finau. Because last year's Tony Finau was actually, all right, we can live with that last year, Tony Finau. But yeah, no, man, it was kind of tough to come up with some nationality props this week. There might be some more, maybe we'll put some more out on Twitter. You got picks that you're going to finalize and, we might have a show next week, but I'm looking forward to this one. A little bit better field, not quite as great of a field as it was last year for this tournament, but I'm still very interested in it. I think I have way more money this year invested in it than I did last year. So definitely looking forward to this. Jack, before we get to our favorite bet of the weekend, let's go ahead and do what we did last week. The one and done. I love that we're doing this. You got your sticky note out. Are you ready to write these down?
I do.
Who's your one and done this week?
I'm going to let you go first while I mull over this real quick because I haven't solidified mine yet, but you go ahead and announce your one and done.
See, this is what's terrible about this. Wait, so we haven't finalized bets, and now I'm asking you to do a one and done when we haven't even finalized bets. This is actually terrible. Do you want to wait and do your one and done tomorrow and you can tweet it out?
You know what? No, let's go and do it. Let's go ahead and do it.
All right. You feel a little bit.
I still have a genuine idea of who's a lock at this point and who are kind of the fringe guys. So I'm all right, but you go ahead and lead us off still.
They're on your points list anyway. So, all right. Let's see. I'm going to go with the Grill Master, baby. Let's go. Boy. Yeah. I'm swapping from your pick last week. You had Grillo and I had the Mista guy. And I wanted Grillo last week, and I kind of got lucky there with Burmester having such a good week, and Grillo kind of tailing off in that 15th hole. So give it to me again. I think this is the type of tournament that he can definitely win, and I really feel good about how he's just going to finish in this field. I think top 20, there's something like that. I feel like I'll take the points even if he doesn't win this tournament. So I like Griot a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing very good as of late. We've already mentioned how well the putter's been cooperating and got me a nice T5 finish last week. You just beat me out as Mista got a 4th place finish, so you got the slight advantage here early on. So, Joey, you're going with Emiliano Griot as your one and done this week. I'm going to go with Matthew Neesmith.
Ooh, baby, let's go.
I don't think I'm going to use him. I don't think I'm ever going to be worried about using Matthew Neesmith too early in the year. So he's got a good track record here. I think he can do it again. Even though he's 80-1, I'm going to have Matthew Neesmith as my one and done for the Shriners Children's Open this week.
I love that so much. I did not expect that. And you know what? Last week I said I didn't want to use Sahith Theegala because of that reason. Maybe I want to use him later on. Thank God I did not use Sahith Theegala. And I went with Burmester, who now I'm feeling like I might want to use him later in the year. The upside he's shown, I'm kind of actually regretting this just a little bit. Like maybe I feel like he might win a tournament this year, Jack. But you never know. You honestly never know. I like that pick. I think it's real ballsy. I think he's definitely he's in for a good tournament. I think here this weekend, and obviously the 80-1 outright. I like that number on him. So definitely a solid pick. Best bet of the weekend. I know you like Burmester. Was that your bet?
Let's save that. Let's save that.
Okay, we'll save that one. So yeah, Jack, we previewed this tournament. You still got some things to kind of finalize here. We walk through it. We talk through it. We make it. It's 51 minutes in now at this point. Man, I'm just so happy, dude. We got another tournament. It's like they flow right into the other one. We had Mac Daddy holding up the cock trophy. now I don't even know. What's the trophy here for this one?
I actually don't know. I'll give it a good look. But I'm definitely stoked for this event too. It's in Vegas. I know, guys, I'm sure love coming out here. That's what helps the field be better than it was last week. We get some big name players: Patrick Cantlay, Sung J.M., the defending champion, Max Homa, some better guys in the middle of the pack. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for this week, man. And hopefully we get on the right track here in the fall swing and cash a ticket this week, get us trending in the right direction.
Absolutely, man. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and wrap this puppy up?
Oh, the Shriners. My final thought is the Shriners trophy is dope. It's like a clear glass jug. It's really sick. You should go and give it a Google, but looks like it'll be a cool trophy to hold up, and hopefully it'll be one of our guys doing it on Sunday afternoon, Joey.
That's what I'm talking about. Is it cooler than the cock trophy?
I don't know, man. That thing's like top notch. Like I'd love to have, I'd fully embrace winning that thing. That would be awesome. But
dude, imagine that.
The golf trophies in general, they always do a really good job on them. I really like most of them.
Imagine you have that sitting on your nightstand and your girlfriend walks into your guy's room and she just sees this huge cock trophy on the nightstand. What the fuck is this?
Right. That's a good one to have for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But with that said, we are On Tap Bets and On Tap Golf, presented by OnTapSportsNet.com. You can check out all of the great content there. Chicago sports needs, wants, interests, On Tap Sportsnet on all social media platforms. You can find us at On Tap Bets and at On Tap Golf. Me at Joey Knows Nothing. Jack at Jack Bushman 2. Beer reviews, golf. I don't know why I start with the beer reviews. I just love beer. Entertainment stuff. We've got all kinds of. There was a cool thing dropped into the group chat tonight. I don't know if you want to share that, Jack. Trying to see what they had going on here with the something they were promoting there. I barely looked at it, and then I actually had to set up for the show. But the Trailer Park Boys joining. I think it was on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So check that out as well. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. We appreciate everybody listening to the show. I just want to say that. I mean, we're building this thing up slowly but surely, and we've had a pretty decent track record to this point. I think we've done, a few of these. We've had a lot of shows, last season. Now we're making it more consistent every week. And as the weeks go on, we're only going to get better at this, putting the research in. Research tends to show better numbers. So I definitely like where this is going and heading. But On Tap Sportsnet for all your Chicago sports wants, needs. Cubs on tap, Bulls on tap, Bears on tap. We got White Sox, Blackhawks, all that good stuff. Check it all out. Yeah, Jack, what do you say we get on out of here and then cash some tickets?
Absolutely, buddy. I like our research. I like our process. We're heading in the right direction. Just need the final result this week.
Yeah, we need that outright. We need that outright. With that said, crack them, lock them, be safe, cash some tickets. We're out.